welcome to the show. I appreciate you tuning in for another brand new review. So what are we talking about here tonight? I know it is mid-January and the holiday season is firmly over at this point, but y'all, I've had a movie I've been wanting to talk about for the last few weeks, and it's just been such a busy time with the 30th anniversary of Demon Knight and all these other premieres that have been happening in the last few weeks that I'm only now getting a chance to get around to it. And I decided that, you know what? I am not waiting till the holiday season here in 2025. We're going to do one more before we get moved on firmly to all the great horror that we have coming up here over the early months of this new year. So strap in tonight, folks, because tonight in movie reviews, we are talking the Advent Calendar. Now, if you haven't seen the trailer for this one before, the Advent Calendar tells the story of Ava, a paraplegic former dancer who receives an antique Advent calendar as a birthday present. What she soon finds out, though, is that this calendar holds the power to restore the use of her legs, but at a terrible, terrible price. Will Ava decide to make the ultimate sacrifice to get back everything that she has lost? And there it is, folks. That is the Advent Calendar. Now, when it comes to a film like this, which, you know, we would call holiday horror, I know that there's a lot of folks out there who look for these movies to typically be kind of tongue-in-cheek. They don't need to be so serious. They can be honestly funny a lot of the time, and that it's going to focus on a lot of these elements that we're really only going to get one time a year. So Santa Claus, elves, reindeer, the North Pole, Krampus, all that kind of stuff you can put into various different holiday films. Other ones, it might just be set during the time frame, and ultimately it doesn't have a big bearing on the plot itself. Now, a film like the Advent Calendar definitely takes up the latter, to where it's absolutely set during the holiday season, but outside of that and the actual titular device here, there's not really that much of a focus on the holiday season itself. And that's fine, because in a movie like this, it doesn't really add nor take away from it. Honestly, the Advent Calendar that's used as a device to bring all the misery that's going to come upon the lead character and those close to her is something that probably could have been translated any other time as well too. Like, hey, you know what? It is July 4th. And around July 4th, we do this kind of gift. And if you do this, blah, blah, blah. Like, this could have been happening at any time. And I don't say that as a negative at all, because y'all know I love me some holiday horror. But for those y'all that are really wondering, right up the jump, I can tell you that that aspect of the film doesn't really play that much into it, even though it is literally called the Advent Calendar. Now, with that, I would say that the movie itself will succeed depending on your actual interest and investment into Ava herself. Largely because I do feel that, as good of a movie as it is somewhat predictable with where it's planning on going. Because as I said, the whole idea here is that Ava could get back the use of her legs, but she has to make a number of sacrifices in order to get that back. And the whole idea of what these sacrifices are likely going to entail, again, they're fairly predictable for this kind of film. This is not a lighthearted movie in the least bit. And so the serious tone of it should give you an idea of what or who is going to be involved in some of these sacrifices in order to get back something as big as the use of her legs again. And so the bigger question here is going to be whether or not the movie succeeds in making us feel sympathy for Ava so we can understand her making all of these choices that she does throughout the film. And, you know, we get to see her at times being taken advantage of. It happens consistently throughout this film, sometimes in much worse ways than other. And she doesn't really have the ability to respond back to these people who are taking advantage of her, because she lives in such a delicate position to where if she rocks the boat even slightly, she's going to lose even more than what she already doesn't have in the first place. And so obviously the film is being told through her vision, through her eyes. And the only issue here is that Ava does seem to be somebody that we should be able to connect with fairly easily. You know, I felt sympathy for her right off the jump, dealing with all these various people around her who clearly don't have her best interest at heart. Even her own best friend doesn't take care of her or look after her the way that she likely should. And so there's definitely the sympathy I have for her, but I think part of the issue though as well is that it does seem out of character then, some of the choices that she'll make that involve these people that are all around her. I'm not saying that some of these folks don't have these bad things coming to them that we see play out, but considering what we see of Ava throughout this film, it does seem not necessarily out of character, but it doesn't really seem to gel up in a lot of places that she would be choosing willingly to put all these people through the pain that they're actually going through. That might just be me. If you've seen it, let me know in the comment section if you felt differently about that. She just doesn't really seem like somebody who would actually prioritize her wants and needs over anybody else that's around her, especially if that meant bringing them an ounce of pain to them. And this includes the folks that ultimately are screwing her over. That ended up putting me at odds with the decisions that she makes throughout this film with this calendar. And, you know, we do get to see that the more that she's given, the harder it is for her to not make these terrible choices. Because once you start to show that these are the fruits of the rewards or the fruits of the labor that you're putting in, and you see that these are real rewards that are coming back, how do you say no to that? How do you kind of turn your back on all of it and think that, well, this is probably still the right idea for me to move forward with this? So I think that's going to be the crux of what makes this movie work for a lot of you. Do you feel sympathy for Ava? And because of that, do you agree with the choices that she can make that harm a lot of people over the course of this film? In other aspects, this movie has a really creepy monster design. You know, I'm always happy to see a really good new design coming in here on a monster, and it's a little bit Silent Hill-ish, for those of y'all who understand what I'm referencing specifically with the look of it. But the entity that inhabits this advent calendar, you know, besides the fact that we get to see them in like this physical form, this demon, this creature, whatever it is, the advent calendar itself also continually pops up as this creepy reminder of the terrible things that's going on. And I love the fact that the movie does find a way to continually make that advent calendar scary in itself every time a new day comes around. And, you know, what's going to pop out of it? What candy is Ava getting this time? Very, very creepy, and I very much enjoyed that aspect to it. Which in another aspect of the film too, I love the fact that the rules that are involved with this continually get harkened back to. Because I think it'd be fairly easy to set up a list of rules here surrounding what Ava's doing and the constraints of it, and then only really focus on one or two. But the movie makes sure that we're reminded of what all of these rules are and the extreme consequences that come up for breaking any of those. I thought that was great storytelling and a great way to make sure that we stay invested, into Ava's journey into following all this through. And the deaths that come into this, the punishments that she has when she's not following these rules, they're fairly brutal, honestly. There are some very big penalties here for not following the rules that are set up here by this calendar, and the movie absolutely does not skimp out at all on the horrifying imagery that we get in it. Overall, again, it doesn't take the biggest advantage of the holiday setting. And for a film that's literally titled The Advent Calendar, it's focused on this holiday gift, even though it's for a birthday and not for Christmas itself. Taking all of that into consideration here, it still, like I said, doesn't ultimately harm the movie. Yeah, typically you want that better representation of the holiday season in it, but what I will say is that if we're just trying to put together movies that are set around this time but offer us something really, really good in the horror space, then the Advent Calendar is definitely going to give you what you need. But let me know in the comment section here if you get a chance to check this one out. This is available again to stream on Shudder right now, so you can go and check this one out for yourself and get back to me on your own thoughts of it. And also, let me know what other holiday horror that you want me to check out when you get around to that season this coming winter, I suppose, because it's only January of 2025, and this is the last one that I'm going to be doing until at least November. But if there are ones you definitely want me to look into, add them in the comment section, folks, and I promise I will go back and make sure that they get included this year coming up. But That's going to do it for us tonight here, folks. Don't forget, the best way to stay on top of all the content that I'm dropping is to get subscribed to my Linktree. In addition to all the reviews that I put out every single week, every Wednesday night at 8:30 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, I'm going to have a new interview, a new opinion piece, or some horror news for you to come and check out. So you can head on over to linktr.ee/T-Scary-Movie. That's going to give you access to the YouTube page for the video versions of the show, your favorite podcasting platforms for the audio-only versions of the show, to my Letterboxd page for written reviews and movie rankings throughout the year, to my TikTok page for my short horror content, including movie news and movie premieres, to my Twitch page for our horror gaming, including the Thing Remastered and Phasmophobia, and to my Fangoria shop page. You can enjoy a 20% discount off anything in the Fangoria shop. Take advantage of that, folks. Hit that subscribe button, and I will be back with more reviews for you before the week is done. That's it tonight, though. My name is T. We've been talking scary movies. Stay scared.